And we are live with another episode of BS Busters. Or actually, no, this isn't BS Busters. This is the Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish. It probably won't be an hour because, people have other things to do with their lives. So,
Yeah. Without further ado, let us introduce ourselves. This is Piggy Don from Video Game Facts, and a recurring member of the Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish and BS Busters.
That's right. And this is Mr. Red Fox, owner, proprietor, master of ceremonies at BS Busters. And we're back. And now it's time to talk about, first of all, what were some of the notable things that came out in 2017? I mean, obviously there was Star Wars, The Last Jedi, but I'm not going to talk about that because it's been belabored to death by everyone. But there's some other good stuff that came out last year, like Kong Skull Island. That was great.
Yeah.
I actually like that a lot.
And of course the first MCU Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Was really good.
And it was really good. Yeah. Logan was good.
Yep. Definitely on my top 5.
Mm-hmm. The last Planet of the Apes movie was also really good.
Yep.
I liked it. I mean, it's like, where do they go from here? Like, the only thing they can do now is just do a remake of the original Planet of the Apes. Yeah, with Charlton, we had Charlton Heston, and get your hands off of me, you damn dirty apes!
You maniacs! You blew it up!
Yeah. Like, where can we go from here? Because, like, originally I was against these movies because I'm like, man, how can you do better than the original? But then I saw what they were doing. I'm like, this is a prequel. This is telling how things got to that point. It makes sense now.
I thought it was common knowledge that this is going to be a prequel.
Well, I mean, I didn't know at the time. Like, they were like, hey, it's Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I'm like, well, what the fuck I don't know what's going on here. And then, then I found out, yeah, it's a prequel. It tells about Caesar and the apes and how the war started. And it goes over 30 years over Caesar's life, from when he's like a baby or, very young to being an older ape. I think at the end of this one, that's the end of his story. Spoiler alert, it's the end of his story, which it basically sets the bedrock for, for the original, which is, I mean, I like what they did, because there was no way people were going to get pissed if they just stole shit from the original, if they redid the original, because it's such a science fiction classic.
Indeed.
Get your hands off of me, you damn dirty apes.
I also like the callbacks to the original, like Cornelius.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who happens to be Caesar's offspring.
Well, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense because, I mean, but it shows that the more things change, like this virus that basically makes the apes smarter and more intelligent starts a war between humans and apes, and then as the humans go down in as their civilization is destroyed, the ape civilization rises. But the same shit that happened with humans is happening with the apes. They're different factions. Some of them are against each other. There's betrayal. Yeah. Like, there's some apes that are like Caesar was, where look, I don't really give a shit about humans. Like, the person who raised me was a human, so I'm not like, oh, anti-human. But I mean, we have the right to exist. And then you have some apes who are with him. You have some apes that are like, well, fuck humanity. Humans were terrible. And you see,
yeah, like
what?
Koba, the ape who has been experimented on.
Yeah, you begin to see the rise of the factions that would eventually lead to the people who decided that humans can exist, but we're going to destroy their ability. Like, we're going to destroy their ability to talk, and in some cases even lobotomize them, so that they can't even do gestures. Like it was a very, it's like, okay, this makes sense now. And the rise of the forbidden zone and you know, the rule, ape must not harm ape. Because that's what separates apes from humans, because humans kill each other. Apes are not supposed to do that, which is bullshit because anyone who knows anything about nature and civilization, monkeys kill each other all the time, especially chimpanzees. Those are some violent motherfuckers.
Yep.
They're violent.
Unlike the bobonos.
Yeah, those are my kind of people. We got a problem. Let's just have an orgy. We'll work it out. Someone ate the last donut. Let's bone it out, baby. I mean, look, listen. That's much better than just ripping a dude's arm off. Which is what chimpanzees do. Like I'm like, chimpanzees are some of the most vicious creatures on the planet. Like everyone's like, they're like everything that when we grew up, people are like, oh, they're so like us. They're just like us. And you find out the dark side about it. It's like chimpanzees are violent, sociopathic killers. Dolphins are dangerous.
Yeah.
And
then elephants never forget. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
and how cats are secretly trying to kill you
yeah,
is right.
Well, cats are predators, and their predatory nature hasn't really been like, cats are always about a few missed feedings from going feral, whereas dogs have been bred so much that we've bent their predatory notions and their pack instincts into our own human behaviors. Like a dog can read a human's face. A cat cannot read a human's face. Like dogs have social intelligence, which is cool. But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about something that I saw this year. Well, actually last year, I saw while I was on my cruise. I watched Bright.
And how was it?
It was fun. It was fun. My only complaint with Bright, a lot of people have been saying it's terrible. It's a piece of garbage. It's not terrible. It's not bad. My only complaint with Bright is that they're cramming what really should be like a 12, 13 episode TV series into an hour and a half long movie. Roughly speaking.
Yeah, I'm hearing that from the audience side that the movie is not that bad.
No, it's a fun summary blockbuster film, but it came out in like December, so.
Yeah. And I think and of course the reason why it's getting panned by critics is because the director himself, the film's director, and his past behavior.
Yeah, they're holding Suicide Squad against David Ayer, which is bullshit. Like, let me put it this way, okay? Bright is basically, it's Shadowrun the movie, except all the information that Bright tries to get across would work really well if Bright was like at the most a 10 episode miniseries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's information that you're not getting because they only had an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes to get across the information, when you really need, like, this would be better as a TV show. I mean, it's on Netflix, so Netflix TV, so you could binge it, on your own leisure, or you could do it once a week like normal TV, whatever floats your boat.
I'm really interested in the film setting, like basically the fantasy genre set in modern times, where all the orcs, the trolls, the elves are set in today's modern times.
Yeah, that's basically the premise behind Shadowrun, the tabletop game. It's like, what if magic just reactivated itself and people who had certain personality tropes turned into orcs, trolls, elves, dwarves. They're fairies and shit like that. Magic dragons exist. Like, That's a very, but there's no way you could do a movie about that. It would have to be a TV show because there's a lot of stories in there that you can't just tell one unless you're telling the origin of it all or a major event. But
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
kind of like how the Warcraft movie is supposed to tell the story of one certain part of the lore.
yeah, and it was like, well, this is cool, but there is so much stuff in Warcraft to decompress. It basically tells about how the orcs came to Azarath, Norath. I can't. Warcraft is not my thing. I was always more of a like I played Warcraft. I was more of a StarCraft guy. Yeah, StarCraft. I know that lore back and forth, side to side, up and down. But Warcraft, I'm like, I know they're humans. I know they're orcs. I know they're dwarves and elves. That's it.
Probably because there's only been 2 games in the StarCraft series.
But I mean, for StarCraft, just to me, had more memorable characters. Just to me, like Phoenix, the zealot slash Archon, who basically he's punished because for some reason, and he's guarding this temple by himself, and these Zerg just rush the temple, and he's like he's gonna go out fighting. He's got these energy swords. He's like, bring it. And these energy swords break in the middle of the fight, and he's like, well, actually, right before he starts fighting, he's like, shit. But Zerg Protoss don't have mouths, but you can see the look on his face. He's like, God damn it, I'm in trouble now. And yet he managed to survive, which tells you how tough he is. And yeah. But yeah, I think that I think like Bright is not that bad. People are like, it's a terrible movie. It's not that bad. It's a fun action comedy. It has Will Smith being Will Smith, which is always fun.
Yep.
I mean, there's a line in the film where he's like, and they showed this in the trailers. He's like, well, his partner Jacoby's like, yeah, we're gonna shoot it out. It's like, really? You want to shoot it out at a nasty ass titty bar? Really? Okay, fine then. We're gonna have a shootout in a nasty ass titty bar. And it's just, I mean, like, here's the thing. Will Smith, if you find a good role for him, can play like where he can really show off his personality is great. Now, if you put him in a role where he can't show off his personality, like
After Earth.
After Earth, where he's like, I am not allowed to show emotion because I am SciFi rage. It's like, no, my friend, no. It's like, I think you're going too far in this no emotion thing, or the Ursa will kill you. But yeah, I think overall, that's a nice thing. If you're watching this on the YouTube page, those who are listening, if you would like to leave any questions for us in the comment section, we will try to answer them later on. Because my co-host here might have to leave for a little bit in order to eat his dinner in a little bit. Yeah. But
yeah, I'm really starving right now.
Yeah, man, go take care of that, and I'll talk about my thoughts on something near and dear to my heart. The whole Disney Fox merger. Yeah, so you go eat your dinner. I'll talk about that until you get back, okay?
All right.
Okay, then peace. So yeah, for those of you who are listening, like I just said, recently Disney and Fox decided, hey, you can buy part of our stuff, and they did. So I mean, immediately, like from what I've heard and read, the reason Disney did this was to build their portfolio for when they make their own streaming service. Now, I don't know what that means. I really don't, but it is what it is. personally, just as a movie fan, I hope this means less of those mediocre ass X-Men movies, because they are mediocre. And I know people like, but I like this one. Look, the overall quality of the X-Men films is like a 70%, 70, 75%. That's the definition of mediocre. It's not failing, but it's not knocking it out of the park overall. Now, you get the outliers. Oh, snap. How's it going, Joel?
That's terrible, isn't it?
How's it going, Joel?
How's that, isn't it? Hearing all the X-Men getting low numbers.
Well, I mean, it's not just that. I mean, those films aren't very good. Like, I mean, you get the occasional outlier, like a Old Man Logan, or a Deadpool, but most of them have been okay to all.
Blah.
Yeah, okay to media to not very good. It's like the first X-Men movie was okay. The second X-Men movie was pretty good. The third X-Men movie shat the bed.
That's putting it mildly.
Then they did X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was terrible. And then they did the Wolverine, which was okay. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't terrible, but it was okay. And then they did the reboot of the X-Men, First Class, which was bad.
Ouch.
Yeah, then they did.
That's like going from high to bottom out to medium, and then oh god.
Well, I mean, let's give them letter grades. The first X-Men movie is a C. The second X-Men movie is a B. The third X-Men movie is an F. The Wolverine Origins movie is also an F. The Wolverine movie is a C. It's not terrible, but it's a C.
It's sure there with that kind of lineup that puts him at about a D right now.
Yeah, and then you have the First Class, which was like a D. Then you had Days of Future Past, which was like a B. Then you had Age of Apocalypse. Then you had the one after Days of Future Past, Age of Apocalypse, right? That was the one after Days of Future Past, Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah, Days of Future Past, which was Age of Apocalypse, which was, a D. I'm not giving it an F. I'm giving it a D. Okay.
I was about to say, it's looking like most of them are pretty ugh.
Yeah, and then you have Old Man Wolverine, Old Man Logan, whatever, which was, a A-, B+. It wasn't perfect, but it got the job done. So, you have two A's, a B, 3 C's,
plenty of D's,
and 2 F's. GPA-wise, that's medium. That's not a 3.0. That's like a 2.5. That's okay. You're not failing, but that's not an A.
I almost thought that was a 2.2.
Well, F's hurt. Because F's, once you get you can recover from a D, but an F is really hard.
It's a weight.
Mm-hmm. So, personally, the reason I'm happy about the acquisition isn't just for, Disney streaming service they're going to do next year, but
that gets me thinking, because you said Disney and Fox are working together on something.
No, I said that the reason Disney bought Fox's stuff is because they want that catalog. They want The Simpsons. They want X-Men. They want Spider-Man, the animated series. They want the original Star Wars cuts with the openings and stuff like that.
Hold on. So Disney wants some of what Fox wants, which would be The Simpsons.
No, Fox wants to sell it. Fox has it. They're selling it because the amount of money Fox would have to spend in order to compete. Because here's the thing.
I was going to say Fox has a hard time competing already in some places.
Yeah,
Trying
well,
to go
that's the
against
thing.
Disney is a bad thing.
That's the thing. Like, entertainment is changing, right? Like, people don't want to watch serialized stuff anymore. It's like I would rather sit down and watch. I would rather binge my favorite TV shows than watch an episode here, an episode every week. Because if I miss the episode, it's like I have no recourse. I mean, now you can go online and watch it again, but
If
on
you're
the
stuck
actual
with cable, then you're kind of catch
your
22.
SOL. Yeah, your SOL. But I mean, you get what I'm saying. It's like, so Fox saw the writing on the wall. They see that the market is changing and they can't really compete with it because everyone thinks that Fox is all about
TV.
yeah, they think Fox is TV and movies, but Fox's bread and butter is broadcasting. TV is, sports and news. That's where they make the vast majority of their money, and that's where they can spend the least amount of money and still, compete and make money. So, I mean, in Disney, it's a win-win. Disney gets Fox's massive catalog of stuff, like massive catalog. They get The Simpsons, they get Alien, they get X-Men, they get The Simpsons, they get Alien, they get all those animated series, all those cartoons, all those movies. I mean, they get tons of stuff. And the icing on the cake for Kevin Feige is that he gets the X-Men, he gets Deadpool, he gets Fantastic Four. He gets the distribution rights to Fantastic Four. I think that weird Constantine film still has the
rights.
they still have the rights, but I mean, where are they going to go now? Like, really? Like, where are they going to go to make another Fantastic Four movie? And hopefully we can get a Fantastic Four movie that's good in my lifetime.
Unlikely, but I get the point there.
Well,
and all Fox has to do is give up some, and in turn they get some of their stuff promoted.
Well, I mean, basically, from what I understand, from what I've heard, there's still going to be a Fox Studios, but it's going to be a subsidiary of Disney, kind of like Marvel Studios and Jim Henson Studios are subsidiaries of Disney.
And I was going to think about Lucasfilms.
Yeah, Lucasfilms is a subsidiary of Disney, but Columbia used to be a subsidiary of Disney. Columbia backed Pulp Fiction. So people are like, Disney's gonna make it too kiddie. These people put out Pulp Fiction.
I was about to say, did somebody forget Pulp Fiction or some of the other wild movies?
Pulp Fiction is not for kids, folks. So you don't have to worry about your precious little films.
And it's not the fake PG-13, ladies and gents.
So, look, you're going to get your rated R Deadpools. We might even get to see him get done by that chick.
If we get a sequel to that, epic.
Well, we're going to get a sequel to Deadpool. But here's the thing. Disney wants to make money. All right? They want to make money. All right? That's what this shit's about. It's about money. All right? Disney themselves see that movies, like the entertainment industry is shifting. People want to watch shit on stream, like via streaming. And, people will go for event films every once in a while, but they're not going to the movies like they used to. So, like, why should I spend $11 to watch a movie? These are not peak hours, but like mid-peak. So like between 12 and 6 o'clock. Why should I spend $11 when I can spend that same $11 and have access to thousands of movies on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime?
Depends on your movie. Depends on your movie service of choice, ladies and gentlemen.
But I mean, just looking at it from that point of view, that is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You can get a lot more out of your buck nowadays with streaming services or broadcast on demand.
Yeah. So I mean,
in opposed to the movie theaters that not only charge you about $11 at a certain time of day, but also charge you for candy, popcorn, drinks.
Yeah.
And who knows what else.
So I mean, that's the thing. It makes a lot of sense just to do that. And I know some people are going to get mad. They're like, "How dare you say that? You bastard! You don't get it." I'm just keeping it real, okay? I'm just keeping it 100% real, folks. All right. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just trying to,
So if anything, makes me glad for that at times because, well, if anybody's hearing this right now that loves this network that I'm going to say right now, I'm sincerely sorry, but the Teen Titans Go network is not a network. It's an animation that is BS, and I'd rather watch Cartoon Network for Tsunami than that piece of beep.
Well, you know what Cartoon Network should do? If they see the writing on the wall, they should do their own streaming service, and the streaming service could have maybe different channels. Like they could have a channel for classical cartoons, like your Bugs Bunny,
Tom and Jerry,
Hanna-Barbera type stuff,
so on.
Yeah, and then they could have something for the kids, for the millennials who are like, I like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and all that shit, but I want to see my shit. I want Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls, not the shitty Powerpuff Girls now, like the good Powerpuff Girls.
Not the trash network, which is actually which I'm gonna break some bad news to you in a bit if you're a fan of it, but their network is bringing back Bliss.
Bliss? I don't know what that is.
If you saw the Power 4, which is the Powerpuff special that featured her.
Oh, you mean the weird? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Meh.
Yeah, they're trying to bring her back for ratings.
I know this is going to sound really bad, but.
And pardon us for the following.
But Powerpuff Girls was at its best when it was back in the day, when it was just a comedy. It was a comedy. It was a cartoon. It wasn't trying to make any statements. It was just a cartoon. And then they tried to make it, well, we're going to make a statement. Why?
At this point, I would prefer Powerpuff Girls Zeta versus this Powerpuff Girls.
I would rather them just take all the old, here's what I would do in order to bring back the old school cartoons from back in the day. I would do. You remember how they did that thing, that cartoon? Like it was like a 30-minute short where
cartoons.
No. It was a 30-minute short movie where they basically brought together the Powerpuff Girls, Dexter, Samurai Jack, Johnny Bravo, and they had them do this. It was some inane thing, but it brought them all together. I'm like, they need to bring back Cartoon
Fridays.
It wasn't Cartoon Friday, because Cartoon was Cartoon was a little animation block where they just had they showed their individual things. This was a little mini movie where they had the headliners of that block come together. Dexter.
Oh, okay, I was a little confused because if anything, the only time I saw something like that was on Cartoon Fridays.
Yeah, I'm just saying they need to do that. They need to bring those people together and do that, because that would be cool to me. They need to bring back when they had some quality, and they could throw Gumball and
Gumball Adventure Time and regular show.
Yeah, well, I don't like the regular show. I like the Adventures of Gumball and not Gumball. I don't like their new weird shows they're trying to. I'm talking the Adventures of Chowder and and that weird show where they had like this kid who lived under the sea, and he wanted to find treasure, but treasure for him was candy, and it was just
Chowder.
Forget what it was called. Yeah, no, it wasn't Chowder. Chowder was the one about food. This one was about like pirates, but it was like these are some of the most incompetent pirates ever. Like the kid
Flapjack.
Flapjack. The kid's best friend was this guy named Captain Knuckles who had these like wooden knuckles, wooden hands. Yeah, it was like because I just remember one episode where they had this where they had a voodoo doll, except it was in this cartoon's universe, so they called it a doo-doo doll made out of poop.
Enough said.
Yeah. And Courage the Cowardly Dog, because that was a damn funny show.
Oh God, I love that show. It was so warm to see that dog actually try to save the day, and he gets no love.
I don't know. Sometimes he would save the day, and Eustace would get hit over the head with a rolling pin. With a rolling pin, yeah, because Eustace was evil. Like I remember one of the final episodes of the final season where like all of Courage's arch enemies team up to take him out, and they challenge him to a game of wall ball or dodgeball or something. Yeah, it was dodgeball, and he's getting his ass kicked, and like Mira's like he's like, Courage, there must be something that you're the best at and no one else can be better at, and he's like, wait, I can scream. He does this soul scream that's so powerful it opens up a crack in the floor, and the crazy Asian guy who's like, what you talking about, fool? and the evil mermaid and cats and like all the other villains, the Great Fusili, they get dropped into this pit. I guess it goes to hell. I don't know. And Eustace is left there where like Muriel gets free. She beats the shit out of him with a rolling pin, and it ends because there's one villain who should have been there who wasn't there, who's Bob the Crazy Barber. With the creepy smile. Yeah, he's like, it makes me want to do something naughty. He shaves Courage. He's like,
thank you for making me want to have some cleanser now.
Well, that's the thing. Courage the Cowardly Dog was a funny cartoon. Like there were gags in it that were hilarious.
It's funny that's the only horror I can actually take.
But here's the thing: it also had deeper it also had much deeper stuff going on. Like there was the episode where this bunny rabbit girl escapes from this mad dog, and like Courage helps her out because Courage is a coward, but he's not a
He's a big-hearted coward.
Yeah, he's a big-hearted coward. And what happens is like the Doberman that she runs away from, the dude called Mad Dog, is trying to take him out. But then her best friend Kitty, and here's the kicker. Kitty is also Bunny's, like it's implied that they're like lovers, kind of.
There's some weird relationships.
Yeah, so it's like, wow, you actually had a gay relationship in a cartoon and it wasn't weird. Everyone's like, well, what about that weird ass show with Steven Strange, Steven Universe, some shit like that? I'm like, whatever. It was done before with Courage, and it wasn't thrown in your face. It was just like, yeah.
It's subtle.
Yeah, it wasn't thrown in your face. It was just there. But yeah, and I mean, Courage helps the girls out, and they do what they need to do, and it's okay. But I mean, I'm just saying it was better back in the day. They had Cartoon Network had a point.
Subtlety and variety.
Well, Cartoon Network had a point in the early 2000s where they just had quality cartoons, like late 90s, early 2000s, good cartoons. Even Kids Next Door was pretty good. I wasn't crazy about it, but it was pretty good. But man,
it wasn't bad, but not my thing. But it was a good popcorn fodder.
I'll keep it real. The first season of Kids Next Door sucked, but once the second season and third season rolled up and they started expanding the universe and telling you more about what was going on, like the overall what was going on.
The overall narrative.
Yeah, the overall narrative of what was going on and how the universe went, like everything went on. It made a lot more sense, but they messed it up when they went all,
Fubar.
Well, I mean, the first season wasn't really that good. Like I said, after the first season, once, I mean, I would say spoiler alert, but it's been almost 10 years since that series went off, so I
was
think
gonna
we can
say
talk about it.
aged.
Yeah, you didn't know if this was just a whole bunch of kids playing a pretend game, or it was just
Something a lot more complex.
Yeah, or something a lot more complex. It wasn't until the second and third season where they explained what was going on that, okay, like these kids are actually fighting adults, how there's this whole dichotomy, and yet they age out of the system. The kids grow up and they have to become, they have to grow up. They become teenagers where they can't be kids anymore. And how
and they get decommissioned.
Yeah, they get decommissioned, and how there's different parents. How there's different types of parents. Most parents aren't evil people. But then you've got grandfather.
The delightful kids from down the lane.
Yeah, whose father is actually Nigel Uno's uncle, because his father is the original is number 0, the original Kids Next Door,
Zero,
like the best agent they ever had. Because basically, when you grow up in this universe, like you have your memory wiped of like you being in the K&D. So like his father is like this weird dude who's just like totally like oblivious to everything. But it turns out that like the kids next door have been fighting for years, because both father and Nigel Uno's dad, their father is grandfather, who's like the ultimate villain of the entire damn Kids Next Door. Like he's just, oh man, he's frightening as all get out.
He's probably the devil himself in human flesh.
Well, he's a dude who scares father, so and father's pretty damn scary, but that's neither here nor there. Kids Next Door was a great show. Not my favorite. Like I said, my favorite Toonami shows back in the day, or cartoon weekend fodder, was first Dexter, then Johnny Bravo tied with Powerpuff Girls, and then I never liked Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Ditto.
I never liked it. I thought it was too weird for me. And I know people will say, you just didn't get it. No, I mean, you're talking to someone who cut his eye teeth watching Ren and Stimpy. I know weird ass cartoons, but Ed, Edd and Eddy was just
out there.
It was just too. It's like the humor for me just didn't resonate.
And for the record, ladies and gentlemen, I'm with him with Dexter's Lab and the Powerpuff Girls, and at times Samurai Jack.
Oh yes, and of course I loved Samurai Jack, because I mean Samurai Jack was just awesome. I wasn't too happy about the ending. They finally got their Samurai Jack ending, but I'm not happy with it. But it's really the only way it could end.
Yeah, even though it was even though some of us wish that it was an hour longer at the finish.
Jack was never going to get his happy ending, because at its core, Samurai Jack is a Japanese tragedy samurai tale.
I was saying that some of us do wish that it was an hour ending. We all know, in a sense, it's going to be a bittersweet finish.
Yeah, it had to be. Like, that was the only way. Like, you think he's going to defeat Aku and have a happily ever after? This man has been through too much shit. He is not going to get a happy ending. I mean, he kind of got a happy ending in one of those episodes in the 5th season where I call it the sex episode.
And Justice, ladies and gentlemen, that was one episode that was flaming hot.
Well, I mean,
in some
not
ways.
so much that. It's just the whole thing is one big innuendo sex joke. Jack and what was that girl's name? Kimiko?
Aki.
Yeah, Aki. Jack and Aki go to this
Prison.
and go to this prison, and they're in the dark, and they're fumbling around. Like Jack's fumbling around to press this button. he's fumbling to press, because when he was told how to find the button and use the button, he wasn't paying attention because he was distracted by Aki being so hot. And he's fumbling around to touch this button so that he'll get an energetic reaction in order to solve their dilemma. And he's fumbling, and then finally he manages to press the button, and they both are totally shocked by the energetic reaction,
and are a total effing mess by then.
And then afterwards, they're completely relieved when it's over, and they wind up kissing. Yes, it's the whole episode. Like once you watch it,
off with a cherry.
Yeah, and they're all sweaty and messy. Look, listen, it's the sex episode. So yes, that's. I mean, once you watch it, like, wait a second, yeah, this is a metaphor for Jack getting some. Which, look, as much as Jack has been wandering around trying to save the world, I think he at some point deserved to get some. But I mean, I like Jack. I think he's Samurai. I think Samurai Jack was a really good TV series, and I think we should have gotten an ending to Samurai Jack years ago instead of just now. But Cartoon Network just
it's a mess.
It's a mess. It's a damn mess. It's a damn mess. I wish it weren't a mess, but it is. For those of you watching who might want to ask questions, you can ask them in the chat section. I will answer them. Or we'll answer them, whatever. But yeah. But anyway, so I mean, I don't know. Like streaming wise, I don't know. But the real cherry on the top is that now we can get the X-Men potentially in the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe, which will keep the Marvel Cinematic Universe films from getting stale, which is the most important thing. We don't want this shit to get stale. Okay.
I was going to say there are plot points that people could go at, but even then, there's only so many plot points that you get hit before you run into some kind of wall.
Well, yeah, look at X-Men. I mean, really, at this point, X-Men was stale 3 movies ago. Like when they rebooted it,
call it for 2.
When they rebooted it and did First Class, that was when X-Men went stale. Because at that point it was like, okay, we've covered everything, and then they did the First Class, which like I said wasn't very good, and then they did Days of Future Past, which was, and then they did Age of Apocalypse, which was terrible. Age of Apocalypse was god awful. That is one of the worst films I've ever seen before in my life. I mean, as an X-Men film, I mean, it's not a terrible film within of itself. It's well shot. But
as a continuity,
well, here's the problem with Age of Apocalypse. Anyone who knows anything about the X-Men knows that movie was garbage. Like, if you're a fan, if you read the source material, it was garbage. If you're someone who just watches the movies, then I mean, and you've never read a comic or watched the TV show, or
to be honest with you, I try to read up on the lore. So if anything, I get what you're saying.
They're like, well, guess what? We're gonna make Magneto into one of the 4 horsemen. Well, that's cool, but he doesn't become a 4 horseman until years. Like the original 4 horsemen that the X-Men fought against were, if I remember correctly, Archangel was definitely one of them. Wasn't Storm? Wasn't Psylocke?
So many choices downsized.
Well, let me put it this way. It wasn't who they had up there, except for Archangel. That's the only one that actually made sense. The rest of them was like, what the... And Storm was too goddamn young to be playing. The person who they... Like, Storm... Like, because in the 80s, when they did the Apocalypse storyline, the 80s, Storm should have been, like... Let me put it this way. The first time Storm met... Charles Xavier in the comics was in the 50s, and she was a little girl and he was a grown-ass man. Well, a young grown-ass man, but you know. So the fact that you had a teenage Storm meeting Professor X was weird. And I know they're like, well, we changed the storyline to make it more modern. Look, this is shit from the 60s, son. It's not supposed to be more modern.
And whoever thinks that a reboot's necessary, I hope that you guys know that there's risks in trying to do reboots.
Yeah. Yeah, there are risks with reboots. I mean, look at that Mummy movie. That Mummy movie that was just terrible. The Mummy. And the Mummy. It could have been awesome, but it wasn't. It was a steaming pile of shit, really.
Whew. I can already tell there's going to be a headache there.
But that's neither here nor there. So, what is your best? What's your top? What's your favorite sci-fi film of 2017?
That's a hard call, especially since I haven't seen many.
No Kong Skull Island, no Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Ooh. That probably is going to be the automatic call, because that's one of the few movies I have seen, in a sense. As in, it's automatically that movie because, well, it was one of the few movies that I saw that is of the sci-fi variety.
Okay.
No, if anything, I didn't jump in fast enough to hear what you guys said.
I don't really have a game of the year. I mean, I don't really have a sci-fi movie of the year. I guess the closest, you know what? I'll choose one right now. Kong Skull Island. And the reason I say Kong Skull Island over, The Last Jedi or
Back guys.
What's up? We were just talking about our sci-fi movie of 2017. I chose Kong Skull Island over Justice League, over Civil War, over any of that shit. I chose Kong Skull Island because it was the reboot we needed. They managed to shed a lot of the baggage that other Kong iterations have had. And it still embraced being a stupid monster movie.
And people are upset about that. That it has to be as thought-provoking as the original.
Yeah, but the original wasn't thought-provoking. The original was racist and misogynistic and exploitative. So much so that they made an unofficial sequel called Mighty Joe Young to make up for how fucked up the original King Kong was. The messaging in it. The movie, special effects wise, it did a lot of wonderful things. But if you actually understand the how can I put this? The messaging going on underneath it, it's like, I never want to see that again.
Isn't that something an SJW would say?
Not really. I mean, that's just like, okay. I'll explain my reasoning, okay? The entire point of King Kong is that white people go to a foreign nation, capture its sovereign leader, and enslave him, put him in chains, take him to America, and make money off of his subjugation. There's a line by the main villain in the film who's like, well, here, King Kong is king, but we'll show him who's king. We'll take him to New York and we'll we'll show the world who's king. I mean, I mean, really, the subjective message, the underlying message of King Kong is it's almost this racial message. You know, 'twas beauty that killed the beast. Really,
Beauty, my
seriously.
You can say the same thing with the Angry Birds movie. How it's actually themed towards the Islamic terrorism in Europe, and how the U.S. and how the Red Bird is the only one who saw through them, but everyone.
It could. I think that I think that's reading too much into it. But literally, the parallels between King Kong, the 1933 RKO Pictures Universal Studios film, and you know, the whole racist undertones of America at that time is a little too close to parallel. You know, like I think it's a little too, you know, the whole
Kong's close to home.
Kong's fatal weakness, ugly white woman. Who knew? You know, this massive creature that is the master of its environment, but hey, this fatal weakness, white woman. So I mean, I'm glad that in Kong Skull Island they took that bullshit and they cast it off. They made a monster movie. The only downside I have with it is that it was rated PG-13, not R. R rating probably would have enabled them to have more violence in it, because you have this giant primal force that's fighting other monsters and should be, you know, there should be people getting impaled. Well, they had some grisly stuff, but it was like no blood. It's like a spider impales a dude through his mouth.
But if they make it rated R, then they won't be selling the merchandise to the kids in their local Walmart.
You know what? They aren't selling that merchandise to the kids, because I went to my local Walmart yesterday, just on a little trip. I had to pick up something. I hate shopping at Walmart, but it's really close to my house. And you know what they had on sale and clearance? $14.99. Kong Skull Island. They had a mountain of King Kong Skull Island figurines, big, huge figurines, $14.99 clearance. No one's buying that shit. They should have just
made it. That stuff is stuck to the clearance aisles.
They should have just made it. They should have just made it a rated R movie. I'm sorry. I know people like, oh no, look, listen, okay. I'm tired of people saying that we need to make it for the kids, because Deadpool has proven that you can make a rated R sci-fi action film that's not going to reach the mass market, and it still makes money. I'm tired of people saying we can't do it. We got to, because look, I'm a grown ass man. There's some shit I don't want to see with kids in the audience with me. I'm sorry. I know it's terrible. I know look, I don't want to fucking I don't want to hear your kids while I'm watching a rated R film at a movie theater, because you couldn't find a babysitter. That's not my fucking problem. I know that's turned into a rant. I don't give a shit. It's too expensive. Not my fucking problem. I don't want to hear your kid while I'm watching this rated R film that has sex, violence.
There's some movies that just deserve a higher rating.
People getting shot in the face. I don't want to. Not my problem. You know. I mean, I don't ask you to watch my dog. Of course, my dog is like 4 years old, and I can leave her home all I want to. Your kid's 4 years old, and you can't leave his or her ass at home. So who's got the smarter family member?
Ding.
Oops. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just simply saying that I really wish people like that was my one gripe. Like that's my sci-fi movie of the year, because it rebooted something the right way and shed the baggage that it had with it. Because for me, like, it's really hard for me to watch things that have like that I know the history behind it, because it's like, this person's full of shit. Like Forrest Gump, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you know, he's named after Bedford Forrest. Bedford Forrest is the founder of the KKK. Fuck that guy. I don't feel sorry for, I don't feel sorry. Well,
No.
that person was really honorable. Or you watch a movie about the Civil War and they try to make you give a shit about the Confederacy generals. It's like, well, they were honorable people. No, they weren't. These people committed
Honor
treason. Yeah. I mean, most of these people were West Point graduates and they committed treason. I don't feel sorry for them. If you go to West Point, if you go to the premier military academy, there's no, I accidentally committed treason. Yeah. Oops. I accidentally went against the Constitution of the United States of America. My bad. But that's neither here nor there. So what was your sci-fi movie of the year? And I know you're probably going to say The Last Jedi.
No, it's not. It's not really. It's actually Logan.
Oh, really? That's a good choice. Yeah. A lot of people, that would have been the top of my list, but I never really liked Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, so I was like, I'm glad to see him gone. Fuck him. I know. That's terrible of me. I'm sorry. But I just...
I mean, it's...
I'm not a huge fan.
I mean, it really... I mean, the final parts of that movie really got me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's deep. It's deep.
I mean, it's so sad to see one of your favorite comic book heroes die like this.
I don't particularly.
Yeah, you don't agree with how Wolverine dies in the movie?
No, I don't know. I always think Wolverine was overrated as a comic book character.
Oh. Understandable.
Because all he really does is talk mad shit and then get his ass kicked most of the time. Like, because as someone who read the Old Man Wolverine comic book, I'm like, some of the shit in this is unbelievable. Like Wolverine beating the Hulk. Fucking no way. I'm sorry. No fucking way. No.
You made me laugh till I got hurt. So excuse me there.
There's a thing. He kills the Incredible Hulk, and then he kills most of his inbred family. And I'm like, look. First of all, the Hulk, having an inbred family is laughable. But the fact that you think that Wolverine could kill the Hulk, this comic book is already irrelevant in my eyes. Now, luckily, they didn't have that in the comic, but I mean,
for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah, they have no right to the Incredible Hulk. Instead they just did a Wolverine clone. It's a Wolverine clone. Ooh, I'm like, man, fuck you. I'm sorry. I mean, it's a good movie, but there was some story choices where I was just like, this is another reason why I'm glad that Fox, that Disney bought that shit from Fox. So now we can have X-Men movies that actually fucking follow continuity and not just, well, we had to make this up because we didn't have the rights.
And not the DC kind of continuity.
Yeah, the X-Men timeline in the Fox movies is kind of screwed up because there are some characters who show up, but then show up. But then show up in the prequels who are about as old as they were in that previous timeline.
Well, yeah, like in Age of Apocalypse, they had a very young Storm. Storm is like Storm. I mean, I'm taking Wolverine out of the equation because he's like 200, 300 years old. Storm is actually like one of the oldest prime members of the team. Right? She's older than Cyclops. And in the comics, like the first time Charles Xavier met Storm, she was like 8 or 9 years old. And he was like in his 30s. So by the time he starts his academy, she's in her like
50s. Or 40?
No, by the time she starts the academy, she's in her late 20s, like mid to late 20s, because she also spent a stint with the Morlocks. Like, they had way too young a person playing Storm. Like, really, they should have just went and gotten Halle Berry again. To tell you the truth, because age-wise, she would have been perfect. But I know they're like, we want to reboot everything. So that's the problem. They don't have enough material, and they don't have writers who are good enough to make it work. Like, because Marvel hasn't had all their shit for years, and they made it work because they had good writers, but not these people, you know.
Right.
Keep on fucking up.
So many fouls.
Keep on fucking up. But that's neither here nor there. So, Logan,
So, Joe, what is your top sci-fi movie of 2017?
yes.
I called Last Jedi since, if anything, that was the only thing I had seen.
So you haven't seen the other sci-fi movies we've discussed?
I don't think
Not
she's
that I know of on the spots.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay. There's some good stuff coming out this year. I mean, heck, in just in little less than a month, we've got Black Panther coming out. So that
That may actually make something.
Yeah, look, man, Marvel has lined this shit up to make money. It's Black Panther. It stars Chadwick Boseman, who at this point has played James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, and what else was he in? Martin Luther King Jr., I think. Like, he's played a lot of shit. And then they've got it in February, which is Black History Month. Look, this movie's gonna make money gangbusters, okay? Plus, it's a good film.
Money on money.
Yeah, it got Kendrick Lamar, a banging ass soundtrack. Shit. Look, they're gonna make money off of the soundtrack just alone. Shit.
And they got the Human Torch as Killmonger.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's a better role.
Look, let me put it this way. Look, if you think that dude is ever gonna play Human Torch again, I swear to God, I will sell you a mountain of gold if that comes true. Of course, it's not going to come true. Like, the guy who wrote the script for that movie, Fantastic Four Stick, he's like, yeah, we're gonna make a second movie. I'm like, man, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you insane? Look, man, I don't know what drug you're smoking, but it's some good shit, man. Yeah. That's what I felt when he said that. I'm like, man, no one's making a fucking sequel to that movie. What the fuck's wrong with you? I mean, I know that sounds terrible. I know some people are going to get mad, but I mean, at a certain point, you have to be honest, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I heard that there's going to be 3 MCU movies coming out this year. Both Black Panther, Infinity War, and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah. Well, I mean, superhero movies make money. And Marvel has proven.
What I'm more concerned is how is Ant-Man and the Wasp going to work when it's going to be released right after Infinity War? How are they going to explain Ant-Man and Wasp's position? Is it going to take place during or before Infinity War?
It's probably going to take place. It's probably going to take place in adjacent to, or it might be. You know, it might be before. I don't know. But I mean,
I feel it might happen after, because if it happens, if the Infinity War has a certain ending, then that could actually work.
Let me put it this way: at this point, if there's anything that Marvel has proven, they've earned the right to be given a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Now, DC, if DC says anything, I'm like, fuck you, man. I don't trust anything you say. Because they've been fucking up.
You want to say something after everyone's got stomped?
2017 has been the year of Warner Brothers DC Extended Universe getting its ass kicked. Aside from Wonder Woman, which I stand by this statement. Wonder Woman is an okay movie, but compared to the shit that came before, it looks like an Oscar award-winning film. It's not that good. But But I mean, it's think of it like this, okay? Think of it like this. Every day you get into work, and like every day someone comes in and they punch you in your arm. Every day.
Ow.
Every day. And then one day, instead of punching you in your arm, they just thump you. They just thump you. They just thump you on your chest. Not even a hard thump, just a poof. And you're like, say, that's much better than before, where they were punching me in the arm. That's basically what Wonder Woman is. It's like, it's not that good of a movie, but compared to what came before it, it's better than getting punched in the arm.
Yeah.
Because the first two
It's like
acts
getting served cake instead of bread for all those times.
Well, I mean, the first two acts of the film are good, but the final act sucks because for some reason Warner Brothers can't do. I haven't seen a Warner Brothers film that managed to get the final act right yet. Man of Steel's final act sucked.
Ow.
Batman v Superman's final act sucked.
It's always a CG fest climax battle.
Yeah, they don't know how to make it. They don't know how to you have no investment in any of these characters. Like they did a Justice League movie. You have no fucking investment in a Justice League movie. You have no investment in these characters coming together because you don't have any investment in them. It's like they should have done
build up.
Yeah, there's no build up. If 2017 taught us anything, it's this. Everyone who keeps on wanting what Marvel has, it took Marvel a decade to build what they had. It's not something they just, hey, I just pulled this out of my ass. We're going to have a cinematic universe. There was planning involved. There was meticulous planning. And it started with a few strong movies. It started with Iron Man. It started with that shitty Edward North Incredible Hulk movie, which wasn't very good, but
It started something.
Yeah, people say it's better than the Ang Lee one, but I like the Ang Lee one better. I know people are gonna get mad at me. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
And of course, you can argue that the Incredible Hulk could be a direct sequel to Ang Lee's Hulk, since it starts out in the jungle.
They didn't actually retcon everything. It is a continuation of Ang Lee's Hulk, which is something that DC hasn't figured out yet. You don't need to do a reboot. You just have to explain away why stuff happens. It's very easy to do.
So they did retcon the Hulk's origin.
Well,
in the Edward Norton version.
Well, they kind of did, but I mean, there's been like different versions of the Hulk's origin. The original origin is that it's the explosion from the gamma bomb, but I've also seen in Ultimate Hulk it was the super serum. They were trying to replicate the Captain America super serum, and Banner uses it on himself and stimulates the serums, energizes the serum with gamma radiation. And so he becomes the ultimate Hulk, who's actually more of the Gray Hulk than the Green Hulk, but whatever. I'm a Hulk aficionado, if you will. But yeah, I love me some Incredible Hulk. I mean, really, to tell you the truth, I mean, this whole Infinity War thing, if they hadn't nerfed the Hulk in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they could solve this shit real quick. It's just let the Hulk fight Thanos' forces for about an hour until he gets uber powerful, and it'll be fine because the Hulk has no upper limit. He just keeps on getting stronger and more powerful as time goes on. Just clear the area. Clear the area.
And no, we're not saying that Death Battle was right on Hulk losing his battle.
You mean Hulk against Apocalypse? Not Apocalypse. Yeah, Apocalypse.
Abomination?
No, it wasn't Abomination. It was Hulk versus the guy who killed Superman. That was some bullshit.
Oh, you mean Doomsday?
Yeah, Doomsday. I was like, man, fuck this. Ugh. The Hulk has no upper limit. He literally is the strongest there is. And unlike other gamma irradiated beings like the Leader, who we've seen the leader reach the point where his gamma output has become to the point where he turned into a being made out of energy and ascended to a higher plane. Now, the leader's whole power was that he was really intellectual. So I don't know what would happen if the Hulk got so angry that he turned into a being made of energy, but I'm guessing he'd become an astral energy being god powered by rage, destroying things. He'd basically be a god.
The only way I
God
see
with unlimited power.
the only way I see
destroying
that
things.
being stopped is with the Reality Stone, and that's barely.
But even
think
then,
the Hulk-
the Hulk breaks reality. That's the thing.
You think
It's like,
As I said, barely, because the Hulk can fight that too.
You think the Hulk will be strong enough to defeat Beerus the Destroyer?
if given enough time, the Hulk can overcome anything.
I was going to say,
if given enough time,
if you turn Hulk into the lawnmower, he'll eventually mow that rear end down.
yeah. Like the thing about the Hulk is this: if you can't take him out in the first 5 minutes of his transformation, you're fucked. Because he just keeps on getting stronger and stronger. Like that bullshit in Age of Ultron where the Hulkbuster knocked out the Hulk. That's bullshit. There has never been a Hulkbuster in the comics that has ever beaten the Hulk.
I was about to say, not that I know of, and has survived becoming scrap.
No, I mean, to tell you the truth, I think Stark Industries just makes those Hulkbusters for the military so that it's a quick cash grab because they don't work. they don't work. It's like the modern defense industry now. They make shit just so that it can lose money because it doesn't work.
I mean,
Well, at least it protects them from getting ransacked by the Hulk and one punch.
I mean, they got to spend that money somewhere, one way or another. I mean, they have so much money they don't have anything else. It's not like they don't have anything else they can spend most of the money on besides charity. Oh wait, I looks like I just answered my own question. Am I hearing a Tiger, an LCD game? Someone sounds like they're playing a Tiger LCD game. The company that went up against Nintendo and got curb stomped and thrown out of an airplane. And asked, what happened? What happened? I remember when they made the Gamescom. They're like, this is going to compete against the Game Boy. We got Duke Nukem on this. My friend actually had one of those. He was like, I remember one day he brought it to school because we had game day at my school, which was a day where you could bring games and you could play them. It was like a free day and we could play games. And they gave us lunch. It was great. And like most people brought, some people brought video games, other people brought board games. I brought my Super Nintendo. We played SNES games like RPGs and Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI and Lufia, fun stuff like that. Super Mario World, Street Fighter. Oh man, I kicked people's ass Street Fighter 2. But that's neither here nor there. But my friend, he brought a Gamescom. Like, really, man? Who the fuck? Like, seriously? Like, I mean, are you actually gonna try and fight like the Gamescom was one of the biggest joke handhelds I've ever seen before in my life.
Sadly, I own one.
More than the Lynx.
And recently, I just found a video asking whether or not the Sega Nomad is better than the Switch.
Well, I'll tell you this much: the Switch has better battery life than the Nomad. Look, first of all, I have a Nomad and a Game Gear, and I can tell you right now, the Nomad. Oh man, that piece of shit. No, the Nomad wasn't terrible. It just had the battery life it had a battery life of like an hour. And that's if you were playing not very demanding games. If you're playing something that was really CPU heavy.
Oh God, the battery life is gone.
Not CPU, processor heavy. 45 minutes. And like here's the irony about the Nomad. They're like, oh my God, this thing is portable. No, it isn't, because if you wanted to play anything longer than 45 minutes to an hour, you had to be near a wall outlet. It's not portable. Shit.
I was gonna say
Dumbass.
it's Dracula for batteries.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the Nomad, you had to use like 8 C cells, or was it 8 D cells? C cells. 6. Yeah, 6 C cells. I mean, that is
cells.
6 C cells. C cell batteries. The ones that
Those bricks.
The D's are huge, but the C's are slightly smaller, and you had to use 6 of them.
As I said, those bricks.
And they were expensive. Or if you were balling, like I had a friend of mine who was balling. This dude used to he had the power brick, the power adapter that you could you could charge the power adapter and then plug that into your Nomad. Like, here's the thing. It's been like over 20 years. I still don't have a power brick adapter for my Nomad. I had mine modified so that it uses a lithium ion battery that you just kind of like how the Game Boy SP uses a lithium ion battery. I just use one of those.
It's finally portable after so many years, but it had to borrow technology from Nintendo.
Well, I mean, a lot of smart devices use lithium ion batteries, like some of your tablets, smartphones, the DS, the 3DS. The only reason I did it was because I got tired of buying C-cell batteries every time I wanted to play my Nomad, because inevitably, because even when it's off, it's drawing juice from the batteries. So you have to take them out if you want to save your batteries, and that's just too much shit to go through if you just want to play a game for like 2 or 3 minutes. So,
as I said, the Nomad, Dracula for batteries.
Yep, it will kill your battery. So what I did was I just said, well, F it, and but that's neither here nor there. Anything else you guys want to mention before we anything you want to pimp out before we wrap things up and call it a night?
Oh yes. Next week's Splatfest is going to be action versus comedy.
Oh God, that's
cool.
going to be a nightmare.
I will not be there. I will be playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, aka Chrono Trigger for a modern age.
Right now, I'm having trouble deciding which side to choose. I mean, it has to depend which has more numbers of better movies.
Players. Well, which one do you like more, action or comedy?
As I said, that's the hard part.
They should have done comedy or horror, because there's lots of action comedies, like the Hitman's Bodyguard is an action comedy.
I even made a new article at in an anime group on Discus asking whether they prefer action anime or comedy anime, and most of the answers revolves around both.
Well, that's the thing. Most of them are both. Like Naruto has a lot of comedy in it. One Piece has a lot of comedy in it, and yet they're action animes. Dragon Ball, action comedies. I mean, there are very few pure action animes out now. Maybe Fist of the North Star, but that's just really violent.
Or Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, but Cowboy Bebop has some comedy to it too. So
true enough.
But that's neither here nor there, folks. Oh God, no, Jesus, no. I just saw your thing. Something about GDC. But yeah, they're having their thing next week. I won't be there, but if you guys want to play it, knock yourself out. You have anything else you want to pimp out before we move on to Jewel?
I'm cool right now.
All right. I guess it's up to me. This is Mr. Red Fox. I will be doing a podcast tomorrow. The BS Busters, the first BS Busters of 2018, the 7th of 2018. So look forward to that. Yeah, it's going to be fun, hopefully, knock on wood. So look forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be covering trends of 2017 that we don't want to see in 2018 and how to fix them. So hopefully, I'm just going to say it right now. I don't want to see any more loot boxes in 2018. Jesus, no more loot boxes. And if I hear games as a service.
Well, you just told the one trend I was going to mention for tomorrow.
Well, you can mention it too, because we might have completely different reasons why we don't want to see it.
Right.
And another thing, I don't want to see any more games as a service. Or one of my own personal favorites, not favorites, dislikes. Games are too cheap now. $60 is not enough. Yeah, whatever.
$60 might.
Yeah, yeah. But that's neither here nor there. These are just a taste of some of mine. But with that being said, look forward to that. I also will have some videos coming out next week because I'm still on my holiday vacation, so won't be going back to work or school till the 15th. So
also worth mentioning that today is the Day of the Three Kings in some cultures, such as mine.
Man, if I was Catholic. Went to Catholic school, not Catholic. So yeah, for my Catholics out there, the Christmas season is still going on, folks. So Feliz Navidad. But, for people like me who are not Catholic but went to Catholic school, Feliz Navidad to you guys. But me, I'm just enjoying my vacation because man, I worked hard last year. So with that being said, that's the end of this episode. The week after next, the BS Busters for next week will be primarily focusing on a questionathon. I will leave a link in the description field where you can ask your questions and we will answer them because we haven't done one in a long time. And I think it's fair to do one big questionathon and get it out the way. And it'll be a while before we do another. So with that being said, good night.
And good night.
And keep away from the bad juice.